Saturn looming in deep space with its rings casting long, ominous shadows. A close-up of Saturn's rings spinning like razor blades. Saturn half lit, half consumed by darkness. A massive storm swirling endlessly on Saturn's surface. Saturn viewed from below, towering and threatening. Rings of Saturn glowing cold and metallic. Saturn emerging from a black cosmic fog. A tiny spacecraft dwarfed by Saturn's vast size. Saturn's rings resembling sharp knives in space. A dark void reflected in Saturn's clouds. Saturn rotating slowly with an unsettling silence. Saturn framed against a starless black background. Lightning flashing inside Saturn's atmosphere. A blood-red tint washing over Saturn. Saturn appearing closer than it should be. Rings bending light in disturbing patterns. Saturn surrounded by drifting space debris. A shadow passing across Saturn's face. Saturn's atmosphere churning violently. A distorted view of Saturn through warped space. Saturn's North Pole hexagon glowing ominously. A deep vortex forming at Saturn's pole. Saturn rotating beneath a cold blue light. Saturn viewed as a silent cosmic predator. Rings creating hypnotic circular motion. Saturn emerging from behind a dead moon. A dark eclipse crossing Saturn's rings. Saturn surrounded by eerie cosmic mist. A spacecraft lost near Saturn's gravity. Saturn's rings slicing through starlight. A massive storm eye staring outward from Saturn. Saturn casting a long shadow across space. Saturn appearing ancient and watchful. Cold light reflecting off Saturn's icy rings. Saturn's surface boiling beneath thick clouds. A haunting stillness around Saturn. Saturn looming above a frozen moon. Rings vibrating like a cosmic weapon. Saturn partially hidden by interstellar dust. A ghostly glow surrounding Saturn. Saturn's clouds forming unnatural patterns. A dark energy swirl near Saturn. Saturn bending nearby starlight unnaturally. A spacecraft silhouetted against Saturn's rings. Saturn's gravity pulling debris inward. Rings appearing fractured and unstable. Saturn rotating under a dim red sun. A distant scream-like wave pattern in Saturn's clouds. Saturn isolated in absolute darkness. Rings reflecting faint, eerie light. Saturn's atmosphere collapsing into a vortex. A shadowy structure hidden within the rings. Saturn appearing closer as perspective warps. A chilling blue glow from Saturn's poles. Saturn emerging like a cosmic nightmare. A slow zoom into Saturn's endless storms. Saturn's rings forming a perfect ominous circle. A lone probe drifting lifeless near Saturn. Saturn surrounded by silent frozen moons. A deep black void behind Saturn. Saturn's hexagon storm glowing faintly. Rings casting sharp shadows across the planet. Saturn rotating with unsettling calm. A distant lightning flash inside Saturn. Saturn's clouds folding in on themselves. Saturn framed like an ancient god of space. A warped reflection of Saturn in space-time. Saturn towering over a shattered moon. Rings spinning with hypnotic menace. Saturn barely visible through cosmic darkness. A cold metallic shine on Saturn's rings. Saturn surrounded by whisper-like cosmic waves. Saturn emerging from a deep space rift. A spacecraft losing control near Saturn. Saturn's gravity well visualized as dark spirals. Rings forming sharp geometric shadows. Saturn looming silently with its rings stretching like blades through space. A close-up of Saturn's rings casting sharp shadows across the planet. Saturn half submerged in darkness, half glowing coldly. A massive storm turning endlessly beneath Saturn's clouds. Saturn viewed from below appearing impossibly large. The rings of Saturn reflecting faint hostile light. Saturn emerging slowly from a black cosmic fog. A tiny spacecraft dwarfed by Saturn's enormous gravity well. Saturn's rings spinning with razor-like precision. A void black sky swallowing Saturn's outline. Saturn rotating in complete silence, no stars nearby. Saturn framed against an empty, lifeless universe. Lightning flashing deep inside Saturn's thick atmosphere. A deep red hue bleeding across Saturn's clouds. Saturn appearing unnaturally close to the viewer. Light bending strangely around Saturn's rings. Saturn surrounded by drifting frozen debris. A shadow crawling slowly across Saturn's surface. Saturn's clouds folding inward violently. A warped view of Saturn through distorted space. Saturn's hexagon storm glowing faintly like an eye. A deep polar vortex spinning endlessly on Saturn. Saturn illuminated by a cold blue cosmic light. Saturn resembling a silent cosmic predator. The rings forming hypnotic, endless circles. Saturn rising behind a frozen, cracked moon. A dark eclipse slicing through Saturn's rings. Saturn wrapped in eerie interstellar mist. A spacecraft losing control near Saturn's gravity. Saturn's rings cutting straight through starlight. A massive storm eye staring outward from Saturn. Saturn casting a long shadow into space. Saturn appearing ancient and indifferent. Icy particles glinting along Saturn's rings. Saturn's upper atmosphere boiling violently. An unsettling stillness surrounding Saturn. Saturn towering above a frozen moon's horizon. Rings vibrating as if under immense tension. Saturn partially hidden behind drifting cosmic dust. A ghostly halo of light surrounding Saturn. Saturn's clouds forming unnatural geometric patterns. Dark energy swirling near Saturn's poles. Saturn bending nearby starlight unnaturally. A probe silhouetted against Saturn's massive rings. Saturn pulling debris inward with brutal force. Cracks appearing within Saturn's ring system. Saturn rotating beneath a dim, dying sun. Strange wave patterns rippling across Saturn's clouds. Saturn isolated in absolute blackness. Rings reflecting a cold metallic sheen. Saturn's atmosphere collapsing into a giant vortex. A shadowy, unknown structure hidden within the rings. Saturn growing larger as perspective warps. A chilling blue glow spilling from Saturn's poles. Saturn emerging like a cosmic nightmare. A slow descent into Saturn's endless storms. Rings forming a perfect, ominous circle. A lifeless space probe drifting past Saturn. Saturn surrounded by silent, frozen moons. A deep void swallowing the stars behind Saturn. Saturn's hexagon storm glowing with unnatural precision. Rings casting knife-sharp shadows on the planet. Saturn rotating with disturbing calm. Sudden lightning burst inside Saturn's clouds. Saturn's atmosphere folding over itself. Saturn frames like an ancient cosmic god. Space-time warping around Saturn's mass. Saturn looming over a shattered moon. Rings spinning with hypnotic menace. Saturn barely visible through thick cosmic darkness. Saturn's rings shining like cold steel. Invisible waves rippling through space near Saturn. Saturn emerging from a rift in space. A spacecraft spiraling uncontrollably toward Saturn. Saturn's gravity visualized as dark spirals. Rings forming sharp geometric